Hello guys, welcome to the channel. This video is the part of C# programming language playlist, and today we're gonna discuss about the C# keywords. And the first thing that should come up in the mind after hearing keywords are what are those? So basically, the keywords are the reserved words in which have the different meaning for the compiler of C sharp, and those called the keywords. And you cannot use those keywords as an identifier of the variable or class or interface or methods, etc. We're gonna see them in detail. So basically, the keywords have the different categories, and we're gonna discuss each category one by one. So the first of the category is the modifier keywords. The modifier keywords is basically uh, prevent a certain part of the program from being modified by the other part of the program. So basically like the abstract class. So abstract is a keyword which you can define as abstract. You can define a class as abstract class. You can define a class as an unsafe class. You can define a method as a read-only method and partial class override method, new object. So these kind of variables called the modifier keywords. And the second one would be the access modifier, and they are basically applied or as a declaration of the class. So these are basically how you define one of the class inside the namespace. I'm gonna talk everything in detail later as on. So the applied these are the declaration of the class. So like class properties, methods, fields, etc. They can be any, they can declare the accessibility inside or throughout the program, like how that variable, for example, should behave. So one of the four keyword is like public, private, protected, and internal. So basically, if you see in the program, and you can see the first of all in here, the class is basically just is written class as a program, but you can also make them as a public, right? Or you can make a private class, and as so on. So these are the things. These are the keywords that you're gonna use them as a variable. So for example, if you're gonna use a string, private as etc., then it will give you an error. It will give you an error of here that it's identifier expected, that you are not giving any name, and this is totally wrong because it's in blue. So blue words are basically the keywords that have the different meaning for the compiler, right? And so these are the four kind of access modifier that are reserved also. Now there are the statements. Statement keywords are basically which have, like, prepare the whole program flow with the different, for example, if you're using the if else situation, or you're using the switch case, or you're using a loop, for example loop for the while or for each, or you are using the break and continue, and these kind of a statement also you can use because they're also reserved by the compiler of C sharp. And those called the statements, statement keywords, right? The next one would be the namespace, and the namespace keywords are basically applied with the namespace and related operator. So basically when you define one of the, when you have to call the other class into one of the namespace, then you use using keyword. So for example, if you go to the program, then see here, it's the namespace reserve the using keyword, right? To include this library of the system text. And then the next is, you see here the dot. So dot is also reserved in here as an operator for the namespace, and you can also not use the dot as any variable name or something. And all these things are basically belong to the namespace, and you cannot use these keyword either as a variable. The next one would be the method parameter. So basically the method parameter is basically when you define a method and you pass the parameter inside those methods, right? So those call the parameters, and you cannot use them as a, like the param, ref, and out. You cannot use them as a as a parameter as well. So for example, if you declaring I have to delete this one first, right? And then, for example, if you are defining a method, don't worry about anything in here right now. I'm gonna discuss why it is wide, why it is not, and everything in detail in our upcoming videos. So I'm just right now just showing you what are the parameters called. So for example, if you're giving a string as a params, right? So this gonna give the error because it's turn out blue and it is the reserved keyword. You cannot return ref also. So these are the things that you cannot use in the param as a parameter into your program, right? And out is also you cannot use. The next one would be the operator. These are used for the miscellaneous stuff into the program throughout the solution, like as await, new, size of, type of, these kind of keyword also you cannot use as a variable. The next one would be the access keywords. The access keyword is basically if they only have the two type, and basically they are giving the access the containing class of the base class of the object or of the class. So it's depend on which keyword you're using. So for example, if you're using inside the current class as a this operator, so it's gonna just give this it's gonna refer this object means like this class, and you can use the base as a base class for that. We're gonna see that one also in the upcoming videos, how you can use them. Then the next one would be the literal keywords. You can use them as a null, true, false, value, and void keyword also. You cannot use them as a keywords as a variable. And then the next one would be the type, and these are all the data types, and these are also you cannot use them as a name. So like for example, the bool you cannot use as a, like, bool string bool something, as we already saw. So you cannot use them as well. And these are all the data types. The next one is the contextual keywords. So they are basically considered as a keyword for the compiler, but they are not reserved. So basically you can use them as still as an identifier, but these are also like the contextual keywords. So if you write, for example, if we take the var, right, and if you use the var into the program, and I'm gonna remove this, right? And if you're gonna write this, like for example, a string where, and this is where keywords, right? So this one is also taken in here, and it's gonna give just a pink color for this variable, but it's not gonna give the error, and you can basically execute it. So you can just use it as a variable, right? But they are a contextual keyword as well. And the second one would be also, for example, the dynamic set and all those things you can also use. And for example, just in case if you want to use one of the contextual keywords, right? So for example, if you want to define, like for example, there is a class keyword which is reserved by the compiler, but if you still want to use it, right? So you can just go ahead and define as a class like this, and then you can use it. So you have to put the at the rate if you want to use them. So these are the reserved keyword. You can use this as a prefix, and then you can call them, and you can do, then there will be no error when you put the at the rate, and then this would be the variable, right? And then you will see that you can just call it as it is. So these are also the keywords. The next one would be the LINQ keyword. LINQ is basically used for in the C# to filter out the data set. Basically, so for example, if you're loading the data in from your database, and you have numerous kind of fields and so many data, but you have to filter them, or you just want some typical kind of values out of those data table, then you can use a LINQ. We also gonna see in the upcoming videos how you write a LINQ or something, and that time you use the LINQ keywords. And so that's why the LINQ keywords is also reserved, and you cannot use them as a variable as well. So like from, where, select, and you can use them, right? So this is all about the keywords. The next video that we're gonna see is basically include the class, access modifier, field, constructor, methods, property. We're gonna see the auto or the difference between the normal property and auto implemented property, and what are the names, namespace, and why they are into the program. So those will be the agenda for the next videos. Thank you for the watching. If you have any question, feel free to comment down and I would be happy to answer. Till then, take care. Bye bye.